Hello, welcome to the Cardinals Scoreboard show for this week. You are watching the Melissa Cardinals Network. This is Trey Graham, along with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally. We're taking the Scoreboard show on the road every week, taking you to a different spot around the campus. We were in the weight room last week. We've been in the coaches' press box. We've been all over the place, and now we are in the third floor library in the brand new wing of the high school. The library is the second floor and the third floor. And Coach Nally, you walked in a moment ago and said,
I've never been here before, and once again, it's such an awesome experience because normally I only need to go to the office. And golly, I was walking up those stairs and woo-wee, I need to get on a treadmill. But it is the vision for the entire high school, but especially this is so cool. You could tell that there was a lot of thought and there was a lot of planning for this for the student. And like I said, I mean, to me, it's like a Barnes and Noble. Like there should be a Starbucks over there and a little bitty snack section over there. It's such a cool setup, and I'm excited when we're done to like go on a tour and kind of check it out.
Well, we'll get some of these students to show
Yeah,
you around.
heck yeah.
We are on the third floor library. You can see Coach Kenny Deal Stadium right behind us, and we are showing you different sites and places around the Melissa High School campus all season long. And we're going to tell you who our special sponsor is in just a few moments. We do have a game this Friday night. Melissa hosting Frisco Independence for the first time these two teams have ever played one another. But last week was the bye week. In last week's episode, we talked about your strategy of the bye week. Now, what do you hope to do when it's time to turn it back on?
Talking about this last week was, the bye week for me is not just a physical recovery time, but it's a mental recovery time. And, these kids have been getting after it since June, and they get a week off in July, and then they get back after it in June again. And then, or after the 4th of July week, and then it's fall camp, and then it's preseason, and then it's season, and, you're just going constantly. And our coaches, it's worse. These coaches have been up here from starting in the summertime in June. They've been here from 7 to about 4, every single day. They get that week off for July the 4th, and then they're back up here during that time again. And then, a coach's life is 7 days a week. They work Monday through Sunday, and their schedule is Monday they get here about, some coaches get here about 4:30 in the morning, and then their day ends around 7. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Whereas Thursday, it's about, some coaches get here most coaches are here about 5:30, and then their day ends on Thursday. It could be 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then Friday's a different world. Like it's, you're up 24 hours, or at least I would say most coaches are up about 18 to 19, 20 hours just awake. And then you're, let's just say you go to bed at 3 or 4 o'clock, and then we're right back up at the office at 8 on Saturday. And then Saturday's from 8 to 3. And then Sunday is from 1 to whenever. So for a coach to have a day off is magical. So what I did on Monday was I gave the coaches off Monday afternoon. I gave the coaches Sunday afternoon off. After we played Lovejoy, I gave the coaches the weekend off. And then I gave a Monday afternoon off, and then we practiced Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the morning. And then we lifted weights with the JV one day and with the varsity the other day. And then Friday we came in and did a JV walkthrough during the period, and then varsity lifted weights. And then we Friday after school we had a staff meeting, and then we starting to get our final breakdown of independence. But the bye week also is, you get to a point, especially our bye week, you start getting to a point where you're kind of seeing your playoff opponent, and you're kind of, so like, you're taking that piece of it, the playoffs, and you're kind of putting it right here, and then you're kind of,
because the bracketology has started.
Yeah, and then you're putting your last 4 games right here. So normally the way it goes is your week by week, just because of the fact of that's what you have to concentrate on. You don't have multiple weeks to figure this out. So so you kind of put your last 4 games here, and you kind of start to work on all of them at the same time. And that's more like your data, your all the information that you're putting through a multiple. We've got all these things that collect data and give tendencies and things like that. Whereas normally you're just doing that on a Sunday. And then when you're done with that on a Sunday, that's why Sundays take so long. You're doing that on a Sunday, and then all that data comes to you, and then you're starting to have to break down and come up with a game plan based off the data that you get. But I firmly believe that the bye week is for mental and physical recovery, and I think that I gave the kiddos the morning off of today, which is Columbus Day, and I thought, man, just let them sleep in, let them have a good time again. Let them have a late Sunday night, let them sleep in, and then we'll get after it on Monday. So I think everybody will be refreshed and ready to go. I know the coaches are. When you get to that point, and you're just so exhausted, and you're kind of just going through the motions to finish it out, and just to get a little bit of a break is good. So I think that was awesome for our kids and our coaches in the bye week. Like I said, for healing and for mental health, I think it was a good time. It set up perfectly.
And you don't want to have another day off for a while.
No. I think that was all I needed right there. Recharge my battery a little bit, and let's go.
Play a bunch more games.
Yep.
Cardinals are 4-2 overall on the season, 3-1 in the district. You mentioned the playoffs, and we've already started with bracketology. Remember how the playoffs work. 4 teams from each district make the playoffs, and it's a 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and it's called the bi-district round in the first round, which means District 3 plays as the opponents for you guys in District 4. So Argyle, Mansfield, Summit, Colleyville, Heritage, Arlington, Seguin, Burleson, Mansfield, Timberview. Those 6 teams seem to be fighting it out for the 4 spots in that district's playoffs. Lovejoy, Melissa, Walnut Grove, Emerson, Anna seem to be the 5 fighting for 4 spots in your district. Argyle and Mansfield Summit are both 4-0 in their district. They play each other this Friday.
Right.
So somebody's going to get their first loss. Anna and Walnut Grove play this Friday. And I'm going to get you to comment for a moment. We've said it on the broadcast, but we haven't talked about it on this show, and that is you open a brand new school, Prosper Walnut Grove, and all you've done is go 6-0, 4-0 in their district.
Right.
Pretty impressive start.
Yeah, I've known Tommy Allison, who's the head coach. I've known him for a long time. He was at Cayuga. This is a long time ago. And I was just a little punk coach, and he taught me a lot about football. Yeah. Make a long story short, he does a great job. So I think Walnut Grove got a great coach to get them rolling and get started. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. I really do. If I was in Vegas, I don't really know where I would go, but man, Anna is just so explosive, and at any point in time they can score. And I think Anna's getting better on defense each week. But I think Tommy, or Coach Allison, I think is an unbelievable play caller, and I think he'll have an unbelievable game plan in. So it's going to be fun to watch, and our district is just fun to be around. I was talking to Coach Dodge right before we started this, and we were talking about some things and whatnot, but one of them was just how fun the district's, it's about, because there's a lot of times where you're going into weeks and you're like, this is a pretty easy week or whatever, and it's like multiple weeks in a row, and you're trying to get yourself up, and everyone likes challenges, and this is what this district is. It's a challenge each week, and it doesn't matter if you're first or you're fourth, you're going to be calloused and ready to go come playoff time. So but yeah, I think that's going to be a great game. I think that Emerson and Lovejoy is going to be a pretty interesting game too, just to watch in our district. But at the end of the day, I think it's just, like I said, we're in the playoffs every week, and it's going to do nothing but make every team that makes the playoffs better.
As we said, the Cardinals are 4-2, so game number 7 of the regular season this Friday out of the 10 regular season games against Frisco Independence. 7:30 p.m. kickoff right here on the Melissa Cardinals Network and right over there at Coach Kenny Deal Stadium. So we're going to take a break in a second, and we'll come back and talk about a lot of other things. But let's go through some stats.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Your leading rusher on the season is a freshman.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Bear Tabor,
Yeah.
487 yards,
heck yeah.
averaging 6 yards a carry,
Yeah, heck yeah.
4 touchdowns on the ground. Your second leading rusher is your quarterback.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
233 yards, almost 6 yards a carry, also 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Noah Schuback has completed 59% of his passes, 1,275 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Jacob Nye has had a tremendous season, averaging over 19 yards a catch, 9 touchdowns. Brett Poole,
Yeah, heck yeah.
former Anacoyote,
Yep,
we had him on the show
Love
a couple
that kid.
days ago,
Love that kid.
averaging 17 yards a catch. Now here's the stat I want you to comment on. You've accumulated 2,767 yards total offense in 6 games. Did you know that?
2000 what?
2,767.
Okay, yep.
All right. That is 461 yards per game
Okay.
on offense.
Yes, sir.
Broken down between rushing and passing. Do you know?
Oh, man. I think Coach Hamilton does a pretty good job. Are we doing percentages?
Yeah.
I would say 60-40 rush.
How about 51% pass, 49% rushing?
Andy, I would have got that wrong. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, good for him.
You
That's
could,
awesome.
Could not be more balanced.
No, you're right. That's awesome. Yeah, heck yeah. I thought it went the other way, but yeah, he's done. Like I said, I think he's done an amazing job.
51% passing, 49% rushing. You have scored an average of 44 points a game, and you're giving up an average of 19 points a game.
That's not bad, Andy.
Now, what about on the other side? Your team defense is allowing 234 yards, so you're gaining 461 to their 234. But on your offense, your opponent's offense, that is, are they run or pass heavy?
I would say pass heavy. The reason I say pass heavy is our defense is just so hard to run the football on, and we're playing really good run defense. So I would say it's probably pass.
62% pass
Yeah.
to 38% rush. So outscoring your opponents 44-19 per game. That 4-2 record. And 3-1 in the district.
Yes, sir.
So it's been a strong start to the season, and it's time to get back to football. We're going to take a break and come back and talk about independence and also talk about scouting, how that works.
Yeah.
I do want to thank our sponsor of this week's broadcast, our good friends over there at Cardinals Carriers Express.
Oh, dang right.
Right over there on Fannin Road next to MREC. Seth Tilley and Jamie over there. I told you, if you have all those Amazon returns, that's where you need to go.
Dang right,
Take
dang
them
right,
back.
dang right.
UPS, mail, Amazon returns, thanks to Cardinals Carriers Express. We'll take a break and come back and talk more. You're watching the Cardinals Scoreboard Show.
I'm Seth Tilley with Cardinal Carriers Express, and I'm happy to be a sponsor for the Cardinal Scoreboard Show.
Welcome back to the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham, Matt Nally. Andy Graham's over there on the camera, and Coach Kenny Deal Stadium is behind us. We're joining you from the 3rd floor of the library here at Melissa High School. We mentioned the Cardinals had a bye week last week. They take on Frisco Independence this Friday. And we want to get your comments about scouting. Now, we've said this over the years. It's different nowadays than in the old days when you had to meet at Whataburger or Dairy Queen and exchange reel-to-reel tapes and VHS tapes and all that. So huddle is the thing.
Yep. Yes, sir.
But do you think there's still value in-person scouting, going to see the game of your opponent in person?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, we played a couple Thursday games, which allowed us to go watch our next opponent and some other opponents that we had. You know, getting the snap count is a big deal. Getting and seeing the actual kids, you know, who's injured and do they have a boot on or whatever, and they're on crutches, or are they just in street clothes, you know, and things like that. Kind of gauging certain things and aspects as the game and as it gets closer to you. To me, I'm only 43, but I was raised by old school coaching. So to me, it's just like, you know, Saturday I was teaching my offensive staff the old way to scout film the old school way, with pen and paper and doing it that way and whatnot, and not just looking at data, which is it's way different because you get the data instantly now. Rather it be back in the day where you would have to watch, 3 or 4 hours of film, and then you'd have to be a mathematician, and then you could start seeing some tendencies.
Okay,
and
go
whatnot.
ahead. You've used that term several times, data. Define that. What all does that include?
Yeah. So like you can get it where nowadays I'll use the old school first, and then nowadays it's anything you could want. Anything a person, if 20's in the game, if 20's in the game at right defensive end, if 20's in the game at, outside backer, if it's into the boundary, if it's into the field, if it's, in the negative, it's in the positive, in the high red, low red, you can do anything with it now. But back in the day, it was, we would base things off of the formation, the situation, boundary, field, and where are you at in the field.
So what this means is your opponent on 3rd and long usually runs this play.
Correct.
Or usually throws it to that guy.
Right. And there's so many pieces that, I feel like nowadays, and I'm different. I have a visual learner, so I have to see things before I can do it. Whereas some people, you can give them a piece of paper and it can say, they're in a 3-man structure, they're going to long stick to the to the back, and they're going to bring their 4th rusher away from the back, and then they're going to spin weak, and they're going to bring a trapping corner. They can see those things and be like, okay, I got it. I can't do that.
They translate from paper to brain.
Yes. I can't do that. I have to be, okay, I have to see it, okay, and then I have to put it on a piece of paper and do it that way so I can visually see everything come together. And to me, I'm going to say this, that is the old school way of doing it, but also I think that there is some merit to it, that the old school way might be the better way, but these young kids can just, okay, yep, got it, and then they move on with life. Where for me, it helped me when I was calling plays, it helped me as I was going through it, I could say, okay, I'm in whatever, this formation, this is the situation, blah, 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 blah. These are my 2 runs, this is my pass, and I could start putting that in my bank in my head, and then the play cards started to become obsolete by Thursday because I already knew what I was going to put on it.
See, that's a whole nother conversation we need to have, and that's play calling.
Yeah, golly.
Because scouting gets you ready for play calling.
Correct.
But that's a different animal.
100%. And then, you start to go in because the thing is everyone is going to do something different than they've shown on tape. So, like, the reason that our defense is so good because it always looks the same. So you can say, okay, well, they're in a 2-high shell, they're going to be in a 4-0-4 front, yada, yada, this is what it is. But it's never that. It's something totally opposite post-snap. And so make a long story short, it's hard to pick up tendencies in that regard. But every defense and every offense is going to show something totally opposite that they haven't shown on film, which is good coach. We do the same thing. Like we'll say, hey, on 3rd and 8 in the high red, we're showing this, but the next week, we're not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everyone does the same thing, but it's finding those things early on because everyone's got their game plan in, and within the first 10 to 15 plays, their game plan, and they know your game plan, and it's about how to fix and tweak things as you're going through the game. And besides that, I love this quote that I heard not that long ago, but it was a perfect play call executed well or executed poorly is a bad play call. And I thought, man, that is awesome. So, I mean, it goes back to, did you coach the kids well enough that week that they could execute that play in that situation? And those are the conversations that we have. It doesn't matter if we win by 70 or if we lose by 3. Those are the conversations that we're having throughout the weekend and throughout the week, because football is about situations and about winning every situation. It's, I've said it a million times, but it's not about who has the best players. It's about who executes the best. And at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, it helps having really talented players, but those talented players have to execute. But scouting is an art. So, like, you can look, a perfect example. This is how crazy coaching has gotten, but it's the truth. Like, you'll have a coach that'll look at just the heads of the offensive linemen, And if the head is, notched just to the left a little bit, and then the ball snapped and he pulls, he's writing it down. He comes back and the kid does it again. Hey guys, if his head's notched to the left, he's pulling to the left. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy things like that. Or if a receiver's right foot's up and he runs a post. Okay, cool. The next time he comes up, you're just watching that foot. And if it's left, and he runs it out. And then it's left, again, he runs it out. And then it's right up, then he runs it. You're writing that down. And then you're telling your defensive backs, like, hey, if he's square-toed, there's a good chance he's running any type of quick game, a hitch or a slant. But if that foot is up, that right foot up, he's going to go vertical and run a post. If the left foot is up, he's going to go vertical and run an out. So, I mean, it's just crazy stuff like that it gets that detailed, You
mentioned data and all of those pieces of information. Who's compiling that? Who's inputting all that?
So we have Coach Dixon, who is a brilliant young coach, and he has developed his own program, and he calls it Solutions. Okay, and so what he does is he has, and I can't explain it. It's an Excel document or whatever, and he can put in as the game. I'll give you all like on the weekend. So he'll put in every single play that the opposing team is running against that team. That team we're about to play's defense. So in our terminology, everything, boom. And then it just clicks out the average and, all these things and yada, yada, yada. And then he goes through every game and does that. And then during our game, he does the exact same thing. And so constantly you're getting data on this is the best formation, this is the best run, into the boundary, here in this situation, blah, 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 blah. You're constantly getting that info. Now, on the weekend, we have what's called Answers, which is a new program that's out that it allows you, it does the exact kind of thing, but it does it for the defense and the offense. So once again, but we don't have to input anything. All you got to do is give them your film, and then they do it, and they give you all the data. And that's a new thing that just started this year. So they used to have to do it, before, and Huddle does it kind of like that too, but it's not as in detail. But once again, it's like, I make fun of these coaches, these young coaches, like you guys don't understand. Like I'm painting the field, I'm mopping the floor, I'm sweeping the floor, I'm doing the laundry, I'm on Saturdays and Sundays, just data. Manila folders and just all kinds of blank sheet of papers that you've just written all over, and then you're trying to figure it out. And you don't have a phone back in those days, so you can just have a calculator. So you're over there with another sheet of paper doing all this math, trying to figure all this stuff out. And but it was fun back in those days too. But the young coaches these days, I kid you not, like it's down to a science now. They just click a button and it just. So, and you have it, and they print it out, and whatnot. And it's even with cards. Like you don't have to do what you used to with cards. I spent up there, 2 hours drawing cards.
For the scout team to run, yeah.
And that's over with. They can do it in a computer system, and then it goes to a little bitty thing that looks like a cell phone that the kids look at, and it's just But scouting is an art, and like I said, I could talk about scouting for a long time. But I did it when I was in college, and I did it when I was a young coach, and I still do it these days. And it's a little bit different. Like I don't take a piece of paper with me anymore. I kind of input in my head. I guess you get to a point where you kind of know what you're looking for and whatnot. So, but there's a lot of stuff that could go into it. Like I know that sign stealing's a big deal in college football, or was last year. You're sitting there looking, going, okay, he touched his face. Okay, that was a run. Does he touch? You know what I'm saying? So, but for the most part, you can never figure that out.
So everybody has the same opportunity for this.
Yes.
They have the same tools.
Yeah.
So what differentiates a good coach from a great coach if everybody's got the same data?
I think taking advantage of it, because just for me personally, as an older coach, that I had success doing it the way that I did it, and then when I became the head coach, I was very kind of standoffish from all the new, because you're kind of I don't know what the word is, apprehensive.
Set in your ways.
Yeah, well, and you're kind of worried that you're going to get scammed, because you really have no idea if this is going to work or not. So I just took the approach of, okay, if you want me to use this, then you're going to come to my school and you're going to show me how it can affect me in a positive way. And then I make my coaches go through the training as well. And if my coaches are like, man, this is good, this is really good, then okay, I'm probably going to be interested in it. But I've had people come in and do all these things, and the coaches are like, man, that's not a good thing. So I think taking advantage of it is a big deal, because you're going to have some coaches out there to be like, I don't need this. I don't need to do that. And, whether I like it or not, or there's other coaches out there like it or not, technology is a useful tool, and we have to take advantage of the positives that come with it. And it's not a negative thing and whatnot. But for me personally, it blew my mind the first few times. They were like, so, boop, 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 boop. And there you just get all this data, and you're like, I promise you, that would have taken me 5 hours on a Sunday afternoon to do what you just did in about 10 seconds. So, but, I get it. But, with the new stuff, though, too, in my opinion, it makes you overanalyze some things sometimes. Whereas I do believe that there is a feel for the game that you must have. And that is something like, I remember we were playing in Salina one year, and I'm the offensive coordinator, and Coach Stinton said, hey, man, you can go in the box if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to, because, the box is like, 5 feet up. Yeah. And it's a size of a shoebox. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to get on the field, and I'm going to try it out. And, man, I'd be honest with you, after that game, for the rest of I wish I was on the field, because I got that feel back for being on the field. You get to feel the game and your play calls and things like that. But now, as a play caller, there's nothing like sitting in the box, because it's no chaos unless Duke is in the box next to you. There's absolutely no chaos.
There's brownies usually.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's some good snacks up there, but it's just you and your mind and your play card. And I used to have a yellow pad, and I could draw stuff up and whatnot, and the coach next to me could give me information and things like that. But it's just so peaceful. And when you're calling a game, sometimes you need that. But man, there's the feel of the game. Once again, like I said, sometimes you need that. So, but like I said, I'm an old school guy, so I kind of like all that old school mentality stuff.
You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard Show here from the third floor of the library. And our last topic for the day, we've talked about it many times over the years, homecoming week, lots of other stuff, extra stuff. And I think you're going to say that you used to be grumpy old man, and not quite so much anymore.
Yeah. So, every coach, it doesn't matter if it's, we're just, Todd Dodge or a brand new coach, Coach Russell at Blue Ridge just became a head coach. Everybody is going to say the same thing. Picture day and homecoming, I hate it with a passion. Picture day and homecoming, I hate it with a passion. I'm just not don't get me wrong. Back in the day, I hated everything about it. But I think that homecoming is a great opportunity for you to allow the kids to enjoy, especially your seniors, to enjoy being a senior and enjoy that last time that they get to really experience high school. And, you're going to fight the fights and what I mean by there's going to be so many distractions and whatever. But, I've gotten to the point now, I'm not going to fall on the sword on this one. You know what I mean? We're going to, we usually get off the field at 7:11, and they're like, hey, you need to get off the field by 7:04, homecoming. Yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? Whereas I was a little bit younger or whatever, but like, no, we're doing it. It's just kind of like, hey, this is absolutely, we're going to do what you want us to do. But once again, it comes back to the kids and the kids having an experience, and every kid deserves to have a great homecoming experience. It's not my experience. I've already had my homecoming experience, and I was telling my wife this the other day. I've had 26 homecomings. And when you get a little bit older and you see kind of how important it is to some of these kiddos, and then the kids graduate, and you know how it is. kids, they don't talk about winning and losing when you graduate. They talk about the bond, and they talk about the locker room, and they talk about all these other things, and they might talk about certain plays in a game and whatnot, and things like that. And homecoming is one of those things that they need to experience. So for me, it's I'm not that guy anymore. But there was a time, yes sir, I was that guy. We're not. I don't give a rip about homecoming. Y'all can do whatever you want to do. We're going to practice football, and we're still playing a football game. It's about winning a football game, and it's still about winning a football game. But I'm just not. I'm not that crazy person anymore. So, yes, sir.
So it is homecoming week here at Melissa High School, and we look forward to bringing you this week's game, 7 o'clock pregame show, 7:30 kickoff right here on the Melissa Cardinals Network. The Melissa Cardinals hosting Frisco Independence for the first time ever, right over there at Coach Kenny Deal Stadium. We do invite you and your family to our church home at First Melissa. Sunday morning worship services, 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m., firstmelissa.com is the website, and usually it's 2 services, 9 a.m. and 10:15. But this Sunday, Coach, 1 service, 10:15,
Dang right.
outside
Hey.
the 140th anniversary
Oh, that's awesome.
of the founding of our church.
Congratulations, man. That's
October of
awesome. Cool.
1884. I wasn't there. Kenny said it was a nice founding back then in 1884, but we're going to celebrate the 140th anniversary. You're invited this Sunday, 10:15 for that. Bring a lawn chair. It'll be a good time. And we thank our sponsor, the Cardinals Carriers Express, Seth and Jamie Tilley, for bringing us this broadcast. Coach, welcome to the library.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Take a look around.
Yeah, I'm fixing to.
And we will see you on Friday night for 7 o'clock pregame show, 7:30 kickoff. For Coach Matt Nally, this is Trey Graham saying good night from Melissa High School.